Hello and welcome back to the Sports Hour show on BRIMBANK Live on Live FM. Thanks for tuning in. We've got a few big things coming up here. We've got an interview with Richmond star debutant Thomson Dow, who played last night. But before then, if you haven't jumped on our poll yet and put your vote in, feel free to do that at our Twitter page at Sports Hour FM. So if you want to vote and if you've got any thoughts, feel free to plug them in. Now we're going to go to a quick news update. And starting off with the Brisbane Broncos, who sacked coach Anthony Seibold in the second year of his 5-year contract. NRL journalist Paul Kent said on NRL 360 this week that it was inexperience from the coach and chairman. It should have happened months ago. Broncos have only won 3 games this season and lost 12. They've had several off-field issues, including breaking COVID-19 protocols, which involved a pub visited by 10 Broncos players, resulting in fines of $140,000 in total. The NRL Integrity are also investigating an alleged third-party deal involving a Brisbane Bronco player. Seibold managed 14 wins from 40 games in his time as coach at the Broncos, and here's what he had to say in his press conference following his sacking as Broncos coach on Tuesday.
I just thought it was in the best interest of the club and the best interest of myself. I've always spoken about the long game. The charter was to bring the young guys through. I said it there before. I've given 12 guys their debut in 38 games, and there's another 8 guys there who had less than 12 games. I've tried to develop them as best I can. Ultimately, since COVID, for whatever reason, it just hasn't worked for us as a group. It hasn't worked. With regards to our results. The boys work really hard. We're really diligent. You guys watch us train. I'd like to think that, we prepare, as best we can.
And that was Anthony Seibold in a press conference following his sacking as Broncos coach on Tuesday. We go to Philadelphia 76ers, who had a coach sacking as well, unfortunately, with Brett Brown, who was sacked. And Brown coaches the Australian national basketball team, the Aussie Boomers, and this decision falls unfavourably for Australian basketball and Ben Simmons, as the pair were together at the 76ers. Time will tell if Ben Simmons comes and plays matches for the Boomers. But for Australia's sake, we hope that their relationship stays strong and Ben Simmons can be heavily involved in the Australian national basketball team. There's been a few coaching appointments. Melbourne Victory announced Grant Brebner as new coach on Monday. He hadn't considered applying for the head coach position until he finished coaching Victory's last 5 games of the season, when he was in charge of the team on an interim basis and thought to apply thereafter. To cricket, former Test opener Chris Rogers was announced head coach of Victoria on Wednesday. This comes about after spending 2 years involved in the Cricket Australia high performance team, which involved coaching the Australian under-19s team for the World Cup earlier this year. Cameron Smith, the NRL legend of the Melbourne Storms rugby club, reports are emerging that next week Smith will announce his retirement from rugby league early next week after a career spanning over 400 matches for the Storm from 2002 until now. And now we cross to our special guest for today on the Sports Hour show, debutant last night for the Richmond Tigers in the AFL. And he certainly killed it and played a lovely game. And we welcome Thomson Dow to the Sports Hour show on BRIMBANK Live. How you going, Thomson?
I'm good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Very well, and it's a pleasure to have you on. How did you feel after last night's game?
Oh, I was over the moon. I think even still now, I'm still buzzing a bit after the win, because obviously we knew it was going to be a big game going into it against West Coast, who are a quality side also. I was a bit nervous about that, but to get the win and to win by 20 or 25 odd points, it was just awesome. And the Gatorade share at the end was as gross as it was afterwards, with all the stickiness of it. But it was so surreal, and I loved it.
And were there any eye-openers for you in that game? I'm sure there were some. What were some of the biggest eye-openers for you compared to any other football you've played in the past?
Oh, I think the biggest one would be the people you play on. Like, I guess as soon as I come onto the field, I was lining up on blokes like Tim Kelly and Shuey, and like you always watch them on TV. So to be out in the field playing against them is, you sort of can't believe it. But as the game goes on, you settle in and you get used to it. But yeah, initially that's what probably surprised me the most.
And you had a great game. 12 touches, and you got around a fair bit, and you got the win in the end. Did you feel comfortable? How long did it take you to sort of get your feet and feel really comfortable in the game?
I think the first quarter was a bit. I feel like I was sort of all over the shop in my head, because obviously it takes a bit to settle in, especially because it was my first game. But it takes when you're out there, you sort of forget what sort of a game it is, as weird as that might sound. And I guess having less supporters at the game probably changes that also, because it doesn't seem like a normal AFL game, because, well, it isn't because of COVID. But you adjust pretty quickly, and I felt like I settled in as the game went on, and got more calm, and found my way.
And what was the build up to the game like? It wasn't your usual build up. It was an AFL debut. So how was that?
Oh, it was amazing. I think there's no better feeling than when all your friends, family, and all the people that have helped you get to where you are today get around you and show you all the support. So yeah, leading up to the game, there was a lot of outside noise going on, I guess, and a lot of it, well, all of it positive. But I always knew it was a matter of flicking the switch to and not getting caught up in all the external stuff. So yeah, as after the jumper presentation, it was almost like that was when I flicked the switch and went to game mode. And I think that's when a lot of the nerves went away. And I found I was nervous leading up to the whole. From when I woke up Thursday morning, I started to feel the nerves, and then after the jumper presentation, I felt pretty good after that. And having David Asprey present it was also an honour, and so it was pretty special.
Yeah, and can you tell me, did your brother Paddy Dow, who plays at Carlton, did he provide you with any advice and tips going into the game?
No, not so much tips, but he did send his love, and he said he's pretty happy for me. So he obviously wasn't able to go to the game because of COVID, but he was there behind the TV, as all my family were. But he was pretty rough for me.
And how about Caleb Sarong, your teammate at school last year in school footy? Did he give you a bit of extra confidence, seeing how well he's gone this year? And did you speak to him before the game?
I did speak to him before the game, and obviously he sent his support towards me. But it was funny. We verse Fremantle next week, and he goes, and I said to him as a bit of a joke, I was hoping I'll debut next week against you, and he goes, well, as long as you play well and I play well, we'll line up against each other. So hopefully it pans out that way, and I get to verse him next week, because obviously having him as a teammate last year and a very close mate, it'd be amazing to be able to verse each other. Hopefully we don't get in a fight or anything, but it'd be awesome.
Well, certainly, I think that's a big chance of happening this week. You're playing Fremantle, and if you both get picked, which I'm sure will happen, you'll be playing against each other. Now, any strategy going into next week? How are you going to play against him? You played with him at school, and somehow he's killed it this year at AFL level in his first year. Yeah, what any strategies or any early thoughts you've got?
Well, obviously, first of all, I got to get selected, and hopefully that does happen. But Caleb, he's a great player, and the one thing about him is he's so consistent. As we've seen so far, I think he's averaging 20 odd disposals, but more importantly, those 20 disposals are always so efficient, and he's so damaging with the ball. So, and alongside him with Mundy and Fife and a lot of other stars on their side. So, yeah, they'll be a quality side, and to come up against them, it'll be a bit of a fight. But yeah, hopefully we can get the win, whether I'm playing or not.
Yeah, and we saw throughout the week, unfortunately, Dylan Grimes, he was receiving some pretty nasty comments through social media. At the club, do they sort of advise you guys and teach you guys on how to respond to these comments, which unfortunately happen in at social media and through the accounts? Do you get provided advice and guidance every season about it?
Well, obviously, I only just arrived this season, so I can only speak from what I've seen so far. But yeah, as soon as we arrive at the club, everyone gets a bit of media training, and also advice surrounding all the social media nonsense that can go about, because it's just, as sad as it is, it's just a part of that AFL and all other top tier sports. There's always external noise which you've just got to block out. But obviously in Dylan Grimes' instance, it was just over the top, and he's taken a stance which is, I guess, a bit of a wake up call in the whole industry, or in the whole sports industry, because it shouldn't be accepted. And I think it's great that he's taken a stance, because I think he'll bring a lot of other players with him, and he'll have a lot of support behind him, which has already been shown. So it's disappointing, but it does happen.
And we saw Richmond reached 100,000 members throughout the week, which is pretty exceptional. And that's not the first time they've done it. They've done it for the past couple of seasons. How do you want Richmond supporters to know you by the end of the season, by the end of your career, hopefully after a Brownlow in 300 games? How do you want to see yourself as a footballer at Richmond?
Oh, look, I think I just want everyone. I always go out there and try and give the best I can, and I think that's what everyone should try and do, because if you leave nothing out there, then you'll have no regrets. And I think that's all I want to do, as long as if I can get through my AFL career with no regrets, and know that I've put every ounce of my energy into it, then I'll be satisfied. And whether that means I've played one game or 300 games, if I've given it my all, I'll be pretty happy. So yeah, I guess I hope the Richmond supporters can know that I'll give everything I've got, and see where that takes me.
And going back to last night's game, what was that like, playing against and with superstars, Dustin Martin, Tim Kelly, big guys like Jack Darling, Josh Kennedy, Jeremy McGovern, your own Tom Lynch, Jack Reaver? What was it like to play with them and against them? And was it a big difference you felt compared to playing the scratch matches and school footy last year? What was that like for you?
I think in terms of teammates like Jack Rewalt and Grimes and Dustin, having all those senior blokes run alongside you, especially in your debut, is so important. And all of them really took me under their wing and made my first game so made me feel so comfortable out there, because they really let you know that they've got your back, and they give you their full support. But yeah, and with opponents, definitely compared to school footy, the one thing I noticed was like bigger bodies out there. Obviously, they've developed their bodies over time, and it's not as quick. Sorry, it's a lot quicker than school footy, and it's definitely noticeable out there, because it was zinging around, especially last night, and the pressure's so high. So it takes a bit to adjust to that, definitely.
It's remarkable how you've gone from school footy last year playing against little boys to playing against the big men in the big league. So it's a remarkable achievement, and congratulations on that. Are there any last words you would like to say on the game or anything? The floor is open.
Yeah, look, I just want to, without all the support from all the fans and all my family and friends, I wouldn't have been able to get through it. So yeah, look, it's awesome to have all that support, and it made my first game so enjoyable. So yeah. And
I'll ask you one last question. How's the hub been?
Yeah, I'm actually really enjoying it. It took a bit to get used to. So I went to boarding school, and one thing I figured is once you get into a routine, you get a lot more comfortable and things start to flow. So I felt like that's helped me get into a routine here in the hub. And so now that I've found that routine, I feel like, everything's just been awesome. And it's given me, it's been a great opportunity to get to know all the boys much better as well, which is great for me in my first year. So, I've developed some stronger relationships, and I'm really enjoying it.
Well, Thomson, it's a pleasure to have you on the Sports Hour, and a big thank you for coming on, and all the very best for the next few games and the rest of your career. Great start last night, and congratulations once again.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me on the show.
No worries. Thanks, Thomson. And that was Thomson Dow from the Richmond Football Club, number 27. He had a fabulous game last night in his debut match against the West Coast Eagles, and he's got a long future ahead. So we thank him for coming on the Sports Hour show.